A new legendary hero is coming to Watcher of Realms this weekend. It officially showed up this morning on the calendar, and this unit is going to be Ruen Hollow, or Rune Hollow. I'm going to call him Ruen. Sounds fancier. Ruen Hollow is an invisible marksman. He's got very strong single target damage and very questionable burst. I'm going to show you him in action right now. We're going to pop open the Fastidious test server, and basically, I'm going to prove what I believe to be true from my testing. I've used him a lot now. He has quite good single target damage, not elite, so certainly not good enough to be like a Silas or a Yuri or some of these other top tier options. Definitely not a Lady Alex or something like that, but definitely well above average, good single target damage. And then he's got this AoE burst that can come here and there. It's a little reliable, it's a little not. Part of it is, part of it isn't. That will make sense in a moment. But basically, when he does do it, it's just not enough. So he clearly, in my opinion, was designed to do the right side of Gear Aid 3. That's what I want to show you here. And it's just not going to live up to what you would want. Basically, when I saw his kit, I thought he might be a superior option to Allura, a nice Allura replacement. I will say with Awakenings, he might still function as that, but he's not better, or if he is better, he's not that much better. I'm going to be straight, though. I think a very, very small tweak to his kit could make him a perfectly designed hero for what he's supposed to be. So I will talk directly to the developers in a minute and I will make that suggestion. But yeah, let's head into it because this is a pretty important banner, right? This is the first new marksman we've had in a minute, at least off the top of my head. Certainly the first invisible marksman kind of designed to solve that right side of Gear Aid 3 problem. That problem is not such a problem through stage 21 once you have good enough gear, but certainly you need some kind of invisible bursty DPS to go on the right side for the highest levels of Gear Aid 3, stage 22, 23, and absolutely stage 24. So that's where I want to show him off. We're going to keep it pretty casual. If you already made it this far to the video, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to be really nice, wish me luck because I'm having knee surgery in the morning. So I'm going to try to just knock this out in one fairly clean take. I might do a little bit of editing, but I got to get up pretty early to have Dr. Mac carve into my knee. It's actually not that serious. It's like medium serious. We'll be okay. But let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Ruen Hollow, very, very cool unit. This is not going to be like a super guide on him. I'll definitely do an official guide, but I'm hopeful that the devs, I'm talking to you guys now, they're going to rework his kit at least a little bit because one little tweak will take him to the next level. After that, I'll make a guide. Or if it doesn't happen, I'll make a guide this weekend because he's still pretty good, but he's just not a unit that will be desirable by the vast majority of players just because he's not solving a new problem in any interesting way, and he's not solving any old problems in any superior, stronger way than what we have available right now. So Ruen Hollow, he's just a piercer. He's pretty cool. What I want to focus on is basically when he's deployed, he immediately enters invisibility. Now, I've seen some people saying on Discord, I guess they watched other videos, or maybe they also have test server. I saw some people saying he doesn't keep uptime on his invisibility. That's definitely incorrect if you build him fast enough, because if we look at his ultimate here, you will see he's going to end his invisibility 10 seconds after he ults if he doesn't use up all his bolts. So the key mechanism in his kit is this twin strike bolt. And when he ults, he has this little animation period where he loads up 20 of these bolts, and then over the next 10 seconds, if you don't use up all 20, then he loses his invisibility. But you're going to be okay. Like, you are going to be able to stay in invisibility if you build him fast enough, because he has a typical, for a single target marksman, he has a typical 2.0 second base attack interval, right? We're used to seeing that. You can see here 2.0 seconds. So if you build him at, I don't know what the break point is, maybe it's 460, 470 attack speed or more. So that's like 360, 370 additional. For me, my build, I've got him just over 500 attack speed total, so just over 400 additional. He will be at a 1.0 second attack interval, and he is going to be able to use all 20 bolts over those 10 seconds after he ults, and he's going to be able to remain invisible. So that's pretty cool. When he does these bolts, they all show up as double hitters. So they're pretty hard-hitting double hitters. They're not hard enough, but they're pretty hard-hitting. So if he's putting out a double hitter every second over 10 seconds, that's 2 hits a second. That's 20 hits, right? So that's pretty important to begin with. But the main problem in his kit, and now we're talking straight to the developers, is his single target is not like Silas, is not like bonded Silas level, you know, or a really, really well-built, maybe A3 Yuri level, where it can kind of take care of business all by itself, just through like a single target being so strong it feels like a burst. No, that is not how he is designed right now. He really does need his phantom arrows. And these are these AoE bursts that he launches. This is going to be 320% AoE damage to a target and up to 4 surrounding enemies. So this is really good for taking out those big mobs in the top right. Except, devs, I'm talking to you, 320% AoE damage is not enough. Does not scale high enough on a single target marksman with very, very low base attack. You might be saying, well, doesn't he put out defense break? Sure, but he only does it through his phantom arrows. It lasts 8 seconds, which is pretty good, but it's actually not consistent enough to enable these phantom arrows to feel like a big, chunky burst. You know, it's just not going to cut it, unfortunately. Now, how do you trigger these phantom arrows, you might be wondering? Well, there are 2 ways. One of them is really, really annoying and makes for really frustrating gameplay. That's through the talent. And you can see whenever another allied marksman uses their ultimate, he's going to launch a phantom arrow. I actually don't mind that part. That's kind of cool. However, there's a cooldown, right? You can see this effect can only be triggered up to 1 time every 3 seconds, so only once every 3 seconds. However, in Gear Aid 3, it's so hard to deal enough damage, you need to be really thoughtful about stacking your ults and unloading them very quickly one after another, right? So as you're going to see, we ult with Kai on the left, his passive leads to increased damage for marksman, and then we're going to go with like a Silas into a Lady Alex, and those are all going to happen within 1 or 2 seconds. So we can't wait for 3 seconds between each one, so you can't make very good use out of this. Potentially, if you had amazing gear, you could, but most people about to clear 324 for the first time have excellent gear, but not like god tier, let me wait and do everything perfect to enable Ruen Hollow level gear, right? So that is a big issue. The second way that he's able to put out a special phantom arrow and get that really, really good AoE is through this auto passive over here. For every 6 twin strike bolts fired, he's going to launch a special phantom arrow. This does go down to 4, right? Which is relevant because he's putting out 20 over the 10 seconds after his ultimate, if you do it properly, right? So that's going to be 5 instances he puts out these big bursts, but actually this damage is reduced. And that's kind of a bummer. Let's move over to the test server now. You can see the little watermark. I want to show you it when it's fully skilled up. You know, you can reduce the damage reduction, but it still does come with a penalty. And this still is not enough because it's tied to the ultimate. So you're getting 5 bursts during the ultimate on top of any other ults from allies. But you're just going to see it right now. It's not enough. I have got him right now. We're going to stay on the test server and actually do the demonstration in a pretty god tier build. I mean, look at this. We're running him in Soulbound Arcana. I have to test it out, but I do think these Phantom Arrows will work with Infernal Roar. That's the only thing in question about his kit. Clearly the basic attacks and clearly the Twin Strike bolts will. But just knowing a lot of these kits, when it's something tied to the basic attack range and it's in a talent, usually that counts too, but I will have to test it. But I thought no-brainer Soulbound Arcana is going to work. I thought this was a very realistic set to run on him, but my stats are phenomenal. This is the test server, baby. Unbelievable quad with a great roll. Excellent quad here. Look at that flat attack with a very good roll. And then an excellent quad here with a very good roll. I mean, these are really, really good pieces. Here we've got a phenomenal quad with huge attack bonus. And then on the breastplate, an excellent Callista quad once again. For the artifact, I'm running him in the new Hand of Doom. This definitely would be his best in slot. He's going to get his 3 kills. Well, assuming he could get the 3 kills, he would get the 3 kills. So I want to show you it theoretically what should be the best. It's also going to come with a big damage increase. And then once he gets those 3 kills, he gets that extra penetration. On top of the defense break he already puts out with some consistency. Well, you know, guys, I make mistakes sometimes. I'm going to leave that stuff in, but I hope you made it to this point. I'll leave a note in the comment section. But basically, I've done maybe 2 hours of testing with this guy. It is late. I am tired. I do have an early morning. And it was just not making sense to me why he wasn't putting out enough bursts. And I was like, it looks like he's putting out bursts, but is he? I don't really know. How are these Phantom Arrows working? You know, I wanted to suggest that they make the Phantom Arrows worth more. It's not until now that I'm realizing, as I'm reading it out loud to you guys, the problem really is the Phantom Arrows are going to the marksman's basic attack range of the allied marksman that triggered the ult to trigger this, right? That is going to be the issue. The only way he's putting it out in his basic attack range is going to be from this auto passive. And that's really the problem. So he's only getting the bursts, those 5 instances during the ultimate, and then that 320% is not enough. It really isn't. So It's one annoying that you can't get the full benefit out of this because there's a cooldown. So you got to kind of stagger your marksman ults. Like you would have to go Kai, wait 3 seconds, Silas, wait 3 seconds, Lady Alex. I can show you that how that would happen. We're not going to do it that way, but you can see how clunky that's going to feel once we do the showcase. But yeah, this is going to be in his range, but these aren't, and that's actually going to be the problem, right? So what I'd make a suggestion to the developers now, speaking directly to you, I would make these ones in his own range worth more. Or frankly, I'd make them all worth more. Make it 480%. And then when he triggers one for the allies and he does it in their attack range, not his, maybe he does a mini one in his attack range. So at the very least, he gets the defense reduction up. And maybe, you know, if you think it's too overpowered, let's say we made the other one 480%, it could be like he's going to do a 480% one in the allied marksman's attack range that triggered the ult. And then in his, he'll do half. He'll do a 240% plus the defense break. That would take him to the next level. And you'll really see that right now as we head into battle. So let's pop the test server back open and let's do it. You're going to get a little Gear Raid 324 guide here as well. I'm excited to show you this thing. So let's place Dallin right there to generate a little cost. As soon as I have 12 costs, I'm going to place Silas right here. Once we have 6, I'm going to take Diao Chan and switch her to black mode. A little boosting for Silas. Let's ult with Silas. And now I'm just waiting for this cost gen. Boom. We actually hit the coin, so we'll stick with it. I'll place Ruen Hollow early so we can really focus in. And here's a good example. Let's toss this on 1x. I'm going to ult with Lady Alex, and you'll see we're going to get that Phantom Arrow, but look, Ruen Hollow turns, and he shoots it over here to Lady Alex's attack range, not his. That's just not helping us the way we want it to be helping us, right? You can see he's doing fine single target damage, 109,000. It's pretty good, and it will scale up a bit, but it's certainly not to the level of like, you know, what some of the other guys are capable of. And then because the vast majority of his burst is not actually in his own range and it's completely contained, the stuff in his own range is completely contained to his ultimate period, which is not very long, it's just not going to cut it. It really isn't. Lady Alex is helping out now. We really need her. You can see he's still only hitting for 109K or whatever. Got another lucky coin there. Very lucky start. They really want me to just focus on the showcase. Let's actually pick up Dallin. Let's get Eloin down. Now you're gonna get a pretty clear vision. We can ult with Erlong Shen. And you can see he's been here just chipping away since before this guy came out. And without Lady Alex, he wouldn't have even gotten this singular kill. That actually is something Alora can do. So I'm thinking of like an A5 Alora, but I think you've got a strong argument that at least A5 Alora is really superior to him. And once you see the burst in the corner here, when these guys come out in the top right, you're going to see it's pretty definitive. So here's something problematic, right? Let's keep it on 1x so we can really focus in. We're going to get units coming down from the top left in just a second. So here they go. And look at this. This is how you'd want to do it. If you guys are unfamiliar, let me actually pause it. I'll pop open. We're leaving the test server now. I want to show you something about Kai in case you don't understand. And that's why this limit to that thing triggering only once every 3 seconds per allied marksman, it doesn't make sense, right? So let's go to Kai. This is a post-buff Kai. I'm on a different account. This isn't my account. That's why everything's grayed out. But you can see here, this passive eradication protocol is so powerful. At full skill ups, when he ults, and that's going to be when he triggers a cluster projectile, that's his ultimate, he's going to put out, with skill ups, a 20% increased damage buff, essentially, to all allied marksmen on the field for 15 seconds with skill ups. So all allied marksmen after he ults are going to have increased damage to airborne units for the next 15 seconds of 20% increased damage. That's very significant. So what you would want to do, and I am about to do, is I've got Kai ready, I've got Lady Alex ready, and I'm about to have Silas ready. I would want to time it, so I'm going to ult with Kai and then ult with Silas and Lady Alex, right? So like start with Kai, and then when I ult with Lady Alex and Silas, they're getting the full benefit, as many of those 15 seconds as possible, of the 20% increased damage to airborne units. But because you'd have to stagger every 3, it's just strange. Maybe I'll just do that right now since these guys are geared well so you can see, but we're going to lose that whole time, right? So there's Kai. We're going to get that hit over there. We get the defense break. Now I'm going to go with Lady Alex. There's a hit. Now I have to wait. Now I'm going to go with Silas. There's a hit. But now by the time Silas is going, you know, Kai's already almost up to his next ult. Yeah. Ult now. And you can see Silas is not going to get the full benefit of the damage boost. It doesn't even show there because it's a unique style damage boost. But I do think that's problematic, and I just don't think it works that well, unfortunately. Go with Kai again. You can see we are getting the big benefit with Kai since he's the one leading the pack. I'm not going to stagger for the future ones. But again, Ruen Hollow's kind of coming into his own now, hitting for 201K. And that's with the boost from Kai. So that will go down in a second. We got another Kai here to push it back up. You can see he's definitely helping Kai over there. But the most important thing, right? The way people get stuck. I mean, people get stuck killing the middle mostly, and people get stuck in the top right. But top right is the hardest problem to solve. And let's look at that right now. So these guys are coming out. I'm going to load up on my bolts. You'll see the animation. We're finally ulting with him. He was not able to take care of this guy, by the way, right? So it's all up to Lady Alex. Let's see if she can pull it off. She might not be able to. These are going to be his bolts, and he has to unload these as fast as possible. And then he'll maintain his invisibility. But look at this. He couldn't take care of this guy. Lady Alex is busy. This isn't a good enough job. Like an A5 Allura would have done better. Is it fair to compare an A0 to an A5? I don't know, but we were hoping he would come in and be better than her. But you can see he didn't take care of that. And now look what he's doing in the top right. I mean, is this even close to enough? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. Lady Alex is coming in with those big hits. That's actually making a lot more of the difference. Look at this big guy in the middle, this big tanky guy in the middle. He's kind of the hardest one to take out. We're not even close. Not even close. I'll get Kai up. Actually, there's no one in his ult range. I was going to say maybe we could get a little boost. We'll ult again. We get some more of these bolts up, and it's not even close. We got one kill there from Lady Alex. Can we get one more from Lady Alex maybe? No, we can't. And that's just the problem in this kit. You saw the build I put on this guy. It's pretty freaking cracked. Some of the best Soulbound Arcana you'll see, right? How many accounts can put a build together like that, especially before they've even, gotten to the point where you're so endgame that you've beaten 324. I don't see him as much of a problem solver. So I don't think he's going to be very desired at all by the vast majority of players. So what needs to happen? I think he does a mini burst when allies ult on top of in their range, also in his range. And I think the actual multiplier of that Phantom Arrow needs to be stronger. One thing I did realize that I want to share before posting is that if you ult with him when the guy on the right comes out right away, you can use up all 20 twin bolt strikes before killing the singular guy in the middle on the right. That actually is a good way to make sure that guy at least dies. It does not solve the key problem of him not being able to take care of the top right, but that's at least something I know the devs are looking at. This timing, though, I'm about to show you will be a better way to deal with the guy on the right middle. So let's do that right now. There is, however, a trade-off to this, because if you're going to run him in a very strong build like we were trying to do to be able to take care of the top right, then he's going to be too strong when you do the early ult against the singular flyers in the right middle, and he's actually going to kill them and lose the invisibility. So there's going to have to be a sweet spot. What we really need to have happen is make this mode deal a little less damage or make him deal way more damage for the burst mode so we can gear him out a little worse. So let me show you two versions right now. So this is going to be that same super OP build I've been featuring. Let's just get everyone out. I'll keep the whole thing here just so you can really see the process. Oop, almost put Silas in the wrong spot. There we go. Let's get Lady Alex down. Now we can switch it over. Turn off these auto ults. So as soon as I have 12 costs, I'm going to place Ruen Hollow. And you can see early on in the battle, before he stacked anything, before he's getting the full benefit of anything, he's hitting for like close to 100,000 without the ult. So 103,000 we're seeing consistently. Lady Alex is ulting now too, though, right? Because we need to take care of this. He's going to be helping over there. Let's ult with Ruen Hollow. You'll see he's going to load up his bolts. And he's actually probably dealing a little too much damage. He's not able to use all the bolts. There you can see he had bolts left. 2 bolts left, it looks like. Hard to tell exactly with this animation. He's still invisible, which means when this period ends, he's about to become visible. That's not good because he's not going to regain his invisibility until he's used these remaining bolts. Ignore this over there. We're just focusing on here now. Until he's used his remaining bolts, and that is only going to happen when he has something to shoot the bolts at. But that's going to be the next right middle guy who's going to come out, and he's going to have to target them. Might be a little easier to do later on, but especially if you're having trouble with that right middle, this build's going to be too strong. So that's a bit goofy. Let's scale back the build a little bit so you see, at least in theory, how this would work, especially because most people aren't going to have this strong a build on him, and you'll get a good picture. So give me 1 second. Let me take this gear back just a notch. All right, so I'm going to throw on this bangle. We're going to lose 3% crit damage and 655 attack. Let's look for something else down here. That's a little too weak. All right, this looks pretty good. We're going to lose another 515 attack and 8.5% crit damage. Let's throw that on. Still an insanely strong build. I'm just going to change those two pieces. So very, very high attack, crit damage very high, over 353% as well. Let's actually make sure we have enough crit rate. Let me look for one other piece. Maybe we can scale back the stats one more time. Let's look for a nice quad here. And let's see. So yeah, here, that gains attack. That's no good. Let's look on the weapon instead. 21%. Let's scroll down a bit. 22. Oh yeah, this is good. So this gets us crit capped. We lose another 3% crit damage and 216 attack. And I think this is a very fair spot to be at. People, when they reach this point, can make a build like this if they need. 17.1K, still that fast 1 second interval. You can see it's achieved at about 470, like I said, crit cap and exactly 350 crit damage, 350% crit damage. So it's still a really, really, really nice build. The last thing we need to do is take out Lady Alex because she's doing too good of a job of helping him, right? So let's remove Lady Alex. Let's see if I've got a nice Yuri or something, just so we have something nice in the middle going. I'll swap Lady Alex's gear onto her, in 1 second. Let me just pull that up. Yeah, there we go. Nice and easy. Not the ideal set, not the ideal anything, but just we need to make the demonstration. Our weakened Ruen Hollow without Lady Alex's assistance. Let's take a look. I'll speed this part up just to when we're deploying Ruen Hollow. All right, and we have reached that point. Here we go. Let's pop them out. Let's see what it looks like timing-wise without Ruen Hollow. Should definitely be better. I'll place Aelin here just so we don't have to worry about the middle. Let's just focus. We're almost ready to ult. Boom. Let's see. Yeah, coming in for like those 200K hits, some extra burst too. These guys are going to get through because we don't have to be good enough without Lady Alex. You can see he just does get it off. So that timing is perfect, right? Before we get the kill, we just finished the 20th bolt. He does remain invisible. So here, that's a better solution. The middle obviously fell apart a bit without Lady Alex, but that's something to think about. I still had to scale back the build though, right? Because if I hadn't done that, he would have gotten that kill with like a bolt or two to spare. So there is a very good idea here in his kit. This is a cool use case, but without him being able to reliably put those hits out and not lose the invisibility before the next right middle guy comes out. And then certainly the most important thing, without him being able to reliably deal enough damage or even come close to dealing enough damage to the top right to actually solve that problem or mostly solve that problem, he's kind of a man without a home. If you have very good gear, he could certainly help you up to like 22, maybe even 23 if you have very good gear. But without it, no power dominance 24, he's just maybe a slightly worse version of Allura. But I do know the devs are looking at this, and they're going to have an announcement soon about when the banner's coming, so that's pretty clutch. If you're wondering about Awakenings, yes, he does get better, absolutely. Is it enough? No, I don't think so. The reduction in the basic attack interval here, I don't think it matters. Like, you're still going to lean into attack speed a lot. The Winter's Bite isn't going to help for this specific content where he's meant to shine. Increased base attack is going to help. This one's very nice because this eventually will lead to a 25% increase in attack. But I still don't think that would be enough for him to start clearing the top right, especially in a build worse than this, which is what almost anyone would have. Penetration here is cool. And then at the A5, this is certainly strong, but I think even then he will be inferior to Allura. And I think Allura is already doing a pretty terrible job at her singular role of trying to take care of the right side. So there you go, a little showcase on Ruen Hollow. Is he bad? No. Is he good? Absolutely not. It's possible. I haven't thought of a way to test him yet, but I've played around with him a lot, and I just don't think he's up to snuff. So developers, I really think it's that simple. Be more thoughtful about this Phantom Arrow. Maybe put him in a build that's a step below this, instead of these all having giant crit damage and flat attack rolls. Try stuff with maybe the crit damage and flat attack rolls are to like here. Maybe this is good Warlord, and then see what you have to make the multipliers on Phantom Arrow be to allow him to actually take care of the top right. It doesn't have to be in bad gear, but, in like normal getting towards endgame gear, at least to a point, because I think this is just too Tall order, or maybe he needs an A1 or something if you want to, if the devs want to get people to start spending money. But there you go. That's Ruen Hollow. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do have to get to sleep. I'm going to do my best to try to film tomorrow. It is an outpatient procedure, so I think I should be pretty good. We'll see. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate everything. Hope your New Year's off to a good start. We're already 2 weeks in. Time really does fly, doesn't it? Anyway, I'm very sleepy if you can't tell. Share with your mother, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Fastidious.